Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Welcome to our morning high five. We thank you once again for joining us. We appreciate you for listening, for hearing us out, and like we always say, we hope that you would um, take a look at yourself, at these scriptures and see what you see in there.
Right.
This morning, we're going to be looking at Judges 6 verses 1 through 10, and we're just gonna jump right into it. Definitely, I say just read it, and you can kind of see what the scriptures are saying. It's not too hard to understand. Um, but just one of the main things that I saw when looking at these scriptures, these verses, was just you see, like I kind of sense like God, um, not having a hard time, but God continuing this cycle with Israel, of Israel disobeying, going through and serving other gods, and then God having to punish, his people, punish his children. And God doesn't get any enjoyment out of this. It's not like God just looks forward to punishing Israel. It In these verses it talks about how Israel was starved and how they were trying to grow things, and the enemy that God delivered them over to would come and basically take all their crops, take everything that they're trying to grow, and they were really trying to starve out his people, starve out his children. And God does not get any enjoyment out of this. It's not like God looks forward to this, but this is simply like the price that they're paying for the disobedience. And God allows these things to happen the same way that he allows things to happen in our lives today. Like he wanted Israel to learn the lesson of, look, like I'm your God. He don't look outside, look to me. And the same way God can allow things to happen today to get our attention, to get us to cry out to him, to get us to remember who he is. And that's just kind of, I just kind of looked and I'm like, God has to, like, he can't enjoy this, and he has to be tired of this, like going through the same thing of sending judges to rescue them, and then they're okay, and then they start to turn again. And like God cannot get enjoyment out of this. Like God doesn't like this, at all.
Mhm.
But he allows it to happen because he knows it's what they need in order to get them to turn back to him. And so that was one of the main things that I saw when looking at these verses. Darnell, what did you see?
Um, so I pretty much saw, same along the lines of you, just how God is trying to get them to see, like, don't follow the gods of the Amorites and the where in the land that you dwell. Like it's me that brought you to where you are. Like don't forget about me. And I think the main thing is that really kind of stood out to me was like kind of paralleling it with today on how we believe that we do everything on our own. It's everything that we do is self-taught or self-motivated or self-made. Like we're there's this phrase, the self-made millionaires, or they have self-help books. Like everything is through me. So the only way I've gotten to where I am is because I put in the work. I did it so that we can boost our self-esteem. But we always find a way to forget about God. So just like the Israelites did, we do it as well. And we have to learn from the Israelites' mistake, and we have to see that they continue to be in a cycle of oppression, and they had to cry out for God. But what I'm thinking about and what I see from it is like we got to learn how to cry out to God even when we don't need him, where we're not being oppressed, where it's not dire. We got to call out to him because we know that he brought us to where we are. So if I want to keep going forward, to keep calling on him. But I don't want to be like Israel in the sense that I'm only going to call him when I need him. I don't want to I don't want to have that kind of relationship. Have you ever had a friendship where you feel like you're being used because every time that person needs something, they just call you? But then when they don't need anything, y'all don't talk, y'all don't have no kind of conversation. That's not a good feeling. And just like Richard said, that I'm almost 100% positive that God does not like that. He doesn't want that kind of relationship with us. There's a song by Coco, "Don't Wait Till Midnight," and then the tag of the song is basically saying, "You say that you love me and you can't live without me, but why do you call me only when you need me?" Like if your spouse or your best friend or anybody on earth said that to you, that would hurt you, like that would hit your soul, and you'd be like, "Dang, I'm so sorry." And can you imagine God really saying that to you? He's saying it to the Israelites, like, don't don't follow these gods where you live. It's me who got you where you are. He's crying. It's almost like he's crying out to them, because, like Richard said, he's like tired. I can only imagine that he's tired of just doing the same thing over and over. The good thing about it is that his grace is sufficient. It's gonna keep coming. The bad thing about it is, when will we ever get the picture and learn to not try to utilize the grace all the time and really give him the praise and the honor that he deserves, because he got us to where we are. So don't forget God in everything that we do is pretty much, the main theme of what I'm saying. I will never want to be like Israel, in the sense that I'm only looking for him. I'm only crying out to him when I need him.
Yeah, good point. Um, the the verse that caught my attention was verse 6. It says, "And Israel was brought very low because of Midian, and the people of Israel cried out for help to the Lord." And just that idea of they were brought very low. I went back and I looked at Deuteronomy chapter 28. And in Deuteronomy chapter 28, Moses is talking to Israel, and it's that familiar, kind of church famous collection of scriptures. You'll be blessed in the city, be blessed in the field, blessed when you're going out, blessed when you're coming in. And then in verse 13, it says, um, "You will be the head. The Lord will make you the head and not the tail, and you shall only go up and not down, if you obey the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you today, being careful to do them." And that if is huge. That if makes all the difference
Yeah.
in the world, because God is, like both of you have said, God is saying, "I don't want this for you. I want you to be the head. I want you to go up. I set you up where you were the head in this land. You were going up, and now you're running from your enemies. They're starving you. You're hiding in caves in the land that I gave you." And it's all because you won't obey.
Right.
It's all because you're choosing, "Nah, I don't want to obey."
Right.
And like you were pointing out, Darnell, he says there was never a time where you had to fear their gods. Their gods were already defeated. When you
Right.
showed up, I defeated all their gods.
Right.
But now you're scared of them, you're scared of the people, and it's all because you're choosing. You didn't see that there was an if there. I guess they thought, God is our God. Like, we're going up. We're always going to be the head. It don't matter what we do. And God's like, it clearly says if you obey, if you follow the commandments, not just because you're Israel. Like, it's like, I'm looking at those jerseys behind you, Darnell. Like, just because you have the right jersey and you show up, if you ain't practiced,
Right.
you're gonna get beat.
Right. Right.
I don't care that you're Israel.
Right.
Midian clearly didn't care that they were Israel.
Right. Right.
You know what? Let's go get a snack. Let's go right. I know where we can get some food easy.
Right.
So yeah, just this idea of obedience matters. And like you said, that's not a just an Old Testament idea. Like that's New Testament. That's relevant even today. Our obedience matters. If we won't obey, then when we start getting consequences, it doesn't make God happy. But He's like, I made it very clear. Like the instructions were clear.
Right.
If you obey, if you follow me, if you respect me, you could either, fear me with respect, or you could fear these gods who really shouldn't have any power over you. They shouldn't be able to do nothing to you. But
Right.
since you won't obey, like now they out there whooping on y'all. Y'all out there making me look bad.
Right.
Right.
Like that scene from Black Panther. Like, is this your king? Like, is this y'all? Like, y'all look weak.
Right.
So yeah. But any other thoughts? Any other?
No.
No?
That's pretty much
Okay.
it.
All right. Yeah. So that's just the beginning of chapter 6. And then if God says the same, when we come back next week, we'll see his response. And his response, there's a spoiler alert, his response is what he's been doing before. He's going to summons a judge. And, we'll see the judge that he calls, how he calls him. But yeah, I really do believe it really is relevant even for us today, just to see that even today, obedience matters. Even today, God wants us to recognize him. Like even today, God does not want to be in this cycle of consequence to try and get our attention when he should already have it. Like all of those same elements are still at work today. So we thank you all for joining us. We hope that you, like Richard started off, I echo the same, same point, same idea. Our goal is to inspire you to look at these verses and for you to get a perspective. And if it's different from ours, let us know. We would love for you to let us know, hey, I saw something different. Okay, let's talk about that.
Right.
So, yeah, we thank you. Thank you for joining us. And if God says the same, we'll be back next week. Monday morning high five.